Hey guys, today I'm going to change the oil in my Quincy air compressor. It's about 7 years old and it's never had an oil change. So I feel bad about that, but we're going to take care of it. Better late than never. So this thing's still running the break-in oil from the factory. Quincy recommends that break-in oil be changed 100 hours, after 100 hours of use. From that point forward, if you're using an SAE 10, 20, or 30 oil, Quincy recommends changing that every 500 hours, unless you're using their Quinsip oils, and at that point you can go 1,000 hours between oil changes. I'm going to use Royal Purple's synthetic air compressor oil, so I'm just going to assume that I'm safe going to 1,000 hours. I'm assuming it's equivalent to the Quinsip oil. So let's go ahead and see what tools we need to get this job done. Okay, so here's everything we need to change the oil in the compressor. So starting from left to right, we have a container. This is a milk jug that I cut the top off of. So then I labeled this using a measuring cup and water just to put it around. I know that this thing needs 1.25 quarts of oil. So I put, 1.5 and 1 just to see where it's at. So, and I wanted a nice clean container to check the oil to see what kind of shape it's in. I got 2 quarts of Royal Purple's Syn Film air compressor oil, and I only need 1.25, but I had to get 2. That'll be fine though, because in the future when I change this, I'll have one of these left over that I can put in that extra quarter of a quart. So the next thing we need is pipe thread sealant. The drain cap has a small drip as it is, so when I put this back on, when I put the drain cap back on, I'm going to put some pipe thread sealant on the threads just to hopefully stop that little drip that it has. You need a crescent wrench to get the cap off. You need pliers to hold the pipe nipple from spinning while you're trying to loosen the cap. And then you need a shop towel or something just to check the oil and to clean up any drips or anything like that. Let's get started. All right, let's go over the location of the things we need here. We need the drain, which is right here. We have a pipe nipple coming out, and then we have a cap on the end of it. We have our dipstick right here. Some of you may have a sight glass in a similar location. Dipstick just pulls out. The first thing I'm going to do before I shut the power off to this is to blow it off with the air compressor itself. I'm going to clean up any debris, dust around this area. All right, so now that we got it cleaned up, we got to turn the power off just so that this thing doesn't kick on while we're changing the oil. Okay, in my case, I got to flip the breaker to turn the power off. I don't have a switch near my compressor. Air compressor, off. All right, so now that the power's turned off, we can go ahead and drain the oil. So go ahead and get your container for the oil and your crescent wrench and your pliers and get those nearby along with your shop towel. So I'm going to just set the shop towel right in here, and I have the container on the floor, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen the drain cap, but I'm not going to remove it yet. I'm going to loosen it up so hopefully I can take it the rest of the way off with my fingers and hold the drain container at the same time. So you hold the pipe nipple with the pliers, put the crescent wrench on the cap, and turn. Easier said than done. Let's try again. I might have to get a bigger wrench. All right, So in my case, the entire thing's turning. Let me see if I can get a bigger wrench, tighten it back up a little bit. There we go. All right. So at this point it's loose. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get the container. I can take it off with my fingers at this point. So now we just let that drain. I'm going to temporarily put the cap back on because I'm going to take off this pipe nipple and put some thread sealant on the back side of it. I wasn't planning on doing that, but when I tried to loosen this cap, the whole thing was spinning. So now I'm worried about a leak. So I'm going to temporarily put this back on. Going to put the shop towel under here because I know it's going to make a mess. All right, put that under there. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the end of this, just dry it off just so I can put some of that on there. I'm gonna put some pipe thread sealant on the end of this. We have the oil drained, we have the cap back on, we have new thread sealant on. So we are ready for oil. Just wipe off some of this excess thread sealant, wipe off any oil. We're ready to add oil back into the compressor. I did forget to mention that you'll need a funnel. So remove the dipstick. And I got a little under 1.25 quarts and I had a drip, so I'm thinking a little bit came out. The manual did suggest that it takes 1.25. So what I've done is I've taken a measuring cup and added 1 cup of oil to it from one of the quarts, and I have a full quart. So I'm going to put the funnel in. Here's a close-up of the oil. Royal purple sin film. So this one's full. I'm going to dump it all in. And then, so that was 1 quart, which is 4 cups. And here's 1 more cup, which will give me 1 quart and 1/4. 1.25 quarts. Let's get rid of the funnel. Let's get it out of the way. Right on the mark, right at the top of the mark. So we are good. Took exactly 1.25 quarts. I don't see any leaks. So let's go turn the power back on. Compressor on. Let's fire it up. Here's a quick look at the oil that came out of it. 7 years old, original break-in oil. I don't know, I guess that's what I would expect. A little bit under 1.25 quarts, but remember I had a drip. Quick look at the specs. All right guys, so there you have it. That's how you change the oil in an air compressor. It's a pretty easy job. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. I'll see you in the next one.